All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Comics for All, where comics, creativity, and community all connect. My name is Jameson. I'm your host here at Comics for All, a comics librarian. For our weekly Ink and Insight segment on today, Monday, January 26th, we have the amazing Michael Schwartz here with us. Michael, thank you so much for taking some time out of your schedule. Thanks for joining us.
Of course, yeah. Between shoveling, I can be here.
That's right. I'm sure. So you're smack in the middle of the winter storm.
Yeah.
So the first question we like to ask everybody who comes on the channel, because we are a reader focused, obviously being a comics librarian, but what got you hooked into comics as a reader?
Oh, my dad did. He is a big comic book collector, so he got me hooked at an early age. He always tells me he had me in like a baby carrier going to like comic shops on weekends.
Oh, sweet.
So I kind of grew up going to comic shops. And then the first series, I think I had a pull list when I was really young, but the first series he actually read to me would have been Amazing Spider-Man. And he started with Amazing Fantasy 15 and then read it all the way through to issue 100.
Wow.
And then he jumped around from different series. Like he'd read me like Fantastic Four or stuff like that. So yeah, I've been into comics for a long time.
Absolutely. That's great to hear. So another kind of question that is a really general, broad question, but a good one. Mm-hmm. When did you realize that you actually like wanted to be a creator and be part of the comics community / industry?
Well, it was funny. My kids were asking me tonight at dinner. They said, like, at our age, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Mm-hmm.
When you're I remember always saying I wanted to be a lawyer, even though I didn't know what that was. But someone said they make a lot of money, and so I was, clearly focused on the money side. Once I found out what a lawyer did, I didn't want to do it anymore. But I did want to be a comic book artist. Like that was something I thought I could do, and early in high school, I was really into art, so I was always like copying McFarlane drawings.
There you go.
I was constantly drawing a lot of Spawn. I spent a lot of time in high school drawing Spawn. But I found out, like, I was also really into movies because, like, my dad was a big comic book collector, but also my dad had run a video store when I was younger. So I was obsessed with both movies and comics.
Love it.
And when I found out at some point, like, probably grade 12, no, it would have been grade 11, I found out that there was film school in Canada. And I was like, what? You don't have to go to LA for this? And so yes. I went completely the other way and started pursuing that. So I also didn't feel like I was the best artist. I early on I wanted to be in comics, and then I deviated to film, and I've had a fairly successful career in film, and now I want to be in comics, and I'm like regretting not getting into it earlier. So
that's understandable. So another kind of reader-centric question to kind of continue this intro section. It didn't have to come out in the last year necessarily, but what's something you've read yourself in the last year that's really stuck with you? It can be, the big two, can be indie, whatever you like.
Well, I have to admit, I'm obsessed with Ghost Machine. That every title is on my pull list.
Redcoat. I read Redcoat fairly recently. It's so good.
That is my favorite. I'm such a big fan that I started following the Ghost Machine Fans podcast.
Wow.
And
okay.
I spent so much time chatting with them that they started inviting me on the Redcoat episodes.
Nice.
So like I'm like a really big fan of them. But I'm reading the absolute titles. I'm really into the Batman and Martian Manhunter. Recent indies. I'm trying to think. I feel like I've been slacking at the comic shop recently. My comic shop has gone straight to pre-orders only, pretty much.
Gotcha.
So it's been hard to get into new stuff because if I don't pre-order it, which I just have not had time to look at what's coming out, and without the Diamond catalog, I get the Diamond catalog every month, and now I don't get that. I don't know what's coming. I have to stay on top of it. I have to see what other friends are posting.
There's one site that I think it's fairly equivalent is Comic Geeks. It doesn't have as many of the indie publishers, but it's got a lot of the 10 to 15 major publishing houses and like what's coming out on a weekly basis. So check that out.
That's good to know. Okay. Yeah. We'll have to talk after. You'll have to give me these tips again.
Of course. So now we're kind of into 2026. Obviously, at the beginning of the new year, a lot of publishing is going to come out into the spring, into the summer. Mm-hmm. What does your creative week look like in this next month or two?
Well, I'm hoping next month, if it should be, we're pre-launching. Clover will be pre-launching my next book, which is called Till Death. So yes. I've been working on that with my partner and my editor, Chris Stevens, who I worked with on Armored. We've been working on this book for 2 years now. So wow. It's an OGN, so it'll be an original graphic novel. Really excited about it.
Shout out Chris, by the way.
Yeah, Chris is, I wouldn't be in comics if it wasn't for Chris.
Love that. So now we are going
to answer your question, I'm focused on that. Trying to get this. There's like little things here and there. I have some art still coming in. But yeah, we're gonna pre-launch that next month, and then launch shortly after or something. But yeah, that's it. And always working on Armored. That is kind of. Sometimes I'm working on it a lot more. So yeah, I hope to be working on it a lot more over the coming months. Yeah.
Well, on teaser, we'll be talking about Armored here in just a couple minutes. So kind of diving into your origin story, your background a little bit. Mm-hmm. Kind of what first drew you into the comic storytelling specifically, and was there a specific creator or series that really kind of clicked for you?
Yeah, the one, like, obviously stuff clicked for me when I was younger, like Spawn and Spider-Man and Silver Surfer and Hulk. But like when I was in university, picking up The Flash by Jeff Johns and Scott Collins.
Oh yeah.
Something about that series, it just hooked me into DC. Like, I know everyone's going to DC now, but to me, I was like, that era, like 2002 to 2011 was like peak DC for me. I was getting like everything. And if I didn't get it, I would like try to get it in the dollar bins. I was obsessed.
Love that.
Yeah.
So kind of a pre-question to the teaser before we really dive into to Armored, but what inspired the concept behind Armored? And was it born from kind of personal themes, pop culture, or kind of what was the confluence of influences for the title?
It's hard. It's kind of hard to know exactly, but I know around the time that the idea kind of popped in there, I was watching a lot of 80s cartoons. One in particular was Visionaries. Knights of the Magical Realm, I think is the full title. But I remember, sleepless nights holding my newborn son and just watching episodes of that and thinking, oh, there needs to be like a night. We need like some sort of night show or something, or comic book or something. And shortly after, I'm sure the idea just popped in there. How it popped in there, why, I have no idea.
Absolutely.
But I'm, like I grew up going to Germany quite a bit when I was younger, like on family vacations and visiting castles. Spent a lot of time visiting castles. I'm kind of obsessed with seeing castles. Like I went to Ireland recently with a director, and all I asked him was, can we just go to castles on our days off? Can we just... So yeah, I don't know, something about it. I'm also obsessed with ghosts. Like my wife and I spend a lot of time like I'm really into horror, she's not, but the one place where we both enjoy horror is ghost stories.
Yes.
So ghosts, like we love doing ghost tours. We're kind of obsessed with ghosts, so that's always been a part of, I don't know, kind of an obsession of mine. And you'll see my next book also has ghosts in it. I just can't escape it.
So you're saying there's a theme?
There is a theme. I'm in my ghost era.
There you go. All right, so now I'm going to actually post the cover here, the hardcover of Armored. So to some viewers out there, I know we got people just listening too. How would you pitch this to someone who's never seen the artwork?
First of all, look at I came dressed like the book. Like,
Absolutely.
I always pitch it, as a boy who finds a haunted medieval suit of armor. There's a lot more to that story, to the story, obviously, but that's the elevator pitch. Haunted suit of armor with magical powers, and guess what? There's a ghost haunting it, and he's like from medieval times, and he's kind of goofy, and he's a fish out of water. That's it on the surface, but it really is a story about a boy whose parents have disappeared, and 2 years of being in and out of foster care, he's finally adopted by a couple who lost their son 2 years ago.
Oh wow!
As well, so that is the premise. And once he's adopted, he finds out that their son died under mysterious circumstances, and so he goes to this castle where the boy died to try to find out what happened. And while there, he falls into this tomb and he discovers the armor. And it's kind of this big mystery, right? Like it's a mystery series, but the first book really is a self-contained story about what happened to that boy and the mystery surrounding his death. But overall, there is a bigger mystery to the series.
Excellent. And that kind of actually goes very well into my next question, which the story kind of blends medieval, like you mentioned, and supernatural elements. How do you, as a writer, balance those visual and narrative tones? How do you balance those two?
I don't know. I think it just comes naturally. I don't have an answer. I can't help but kind of add comedic elements to things. Like I'm so obsessed with horror, but I never go there. And actually, the next film that's coming out that I co-wrote, I was so thankful. This director really pushed me to go to those places. Like, of the horror movies I love scary horror movies, I love serious horror movies, but I'm always writing goofy stuff mixed in with horror. And he just kept pushing. He does not like cheesy comedic horror at all.
Right.
And I'm like a bit of the opposite, and it just comes naturally. So I don't know the balance. I can't answer it. I have written a lot of kids movies.
Okay.
So maybe it just intrinsically I try to write for that like tween audience a bit. So
it's kind of like that lightheartedness to it in a sense.
Yeah. Well, also when you read Armored, there's dark elements in it. There's like some serious themes of grief surrounding the whole story. And like within the first 5 pages, a kid dies, right? Like I wanted it to open with a bang. Like, hey, if you can handle this one death, you can handle the rest of this story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for you personally, and when you're especially like on a title like Armored, can you kind of walk us through your creative process? Like, do you start with a script, just a general concept? How does the creative process actually work for you?
For me, I always try to start with a premise first. Like I tend to gravitate towards high concepts. So I'm always like, well, my first job at a film school was working for Disney theatrical marketing here in Canada. So like from Disney, I went to work for Fox Searchlight Pictures. So I was always having to pitch these movies that I had nothing to do with, but I had to pitch the press. I had to pitch promotional partners and why they should partner with us, right, to promote these movies. So I come from like with that background. I always think, oh, other people may have to pitch my story. So how can I boil this idea down to like a simple premise that anybody can pitch? Like, so that's why I always start with the premise. To me, it's like, what is the premise? What's the concept? And then I work knowing what that concept is and what the elements are. I'm like, what is the story I want to tell within that premise? So if we're dealing with ghosts, there's a number of themes you can deal with, right? Like grief, overcoming loss. Those are it's like, how do I connect the premise to the theme? And then I start building the story from there. Who's the character? What are they going through? How are they confronted with these themes? that's kind of my process. And then I outline everything.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And then kind of that next natural step is to work with, especially if you're not, an artist, extraordinary yourself. Can you walk us through kind of the collaboration with the artistic team and how that works?
Yeah. Well, for Armored, I would write a script, and it goes to Chris, who is like a comic book like legend god, if I can call him that. He can read a script and know what's wrong with it, what to improve, how to change things. And honestly, like with I highly recommend anybody that that wants to make a comic, try to get an editor. I know making comics is expensive and stuff, but like try to hire an editor. You won't regret it.
Yeah.
And so that process is a bit of back and forth with me and Chris. So he tells me, rewrite things, cut out scenes, add this scene. He helps me with the dialogue, smooths that out. Then we send it off to Ishmael Hernandez, who's the artist on the book, who's phenomenal. He hand paints every single page of the book.
Wow.
Pencils, inks, and watercolors every page. So Ishmael will do rough layouts of the whole book, so we get a sense of it, and he puts in all the dialogue, so we see where it's going, or where it could go. And then Chris and I'll provide our feedback, and then he goes to pencils, and then ultimately colors. Yeah.
Fantastic. And then a kind of a question to tie kind of those two processes together, like from concept and like scripts to your portion of it to working with the artistic team. How long of a time period are we talking before like Armored becomes like a printed product? How long of a time period is this?
Oh my God, it was a while, I have to admit. So we kickstarted issue 1 and 2 August 2023.
Okay.
So that was the Kickstarter. But I'm trying to think when this whole thing, it probably, I want to say I handed the script to Chris June 2022.
Wow.
The first script. I had the first script written and then brought Chris on board. Yeah. So that shows you. That's also partly like my fault too, right? Like not acting quick enough, or me being nervous and being like, okay, let's get Ishmael to do one issue. And Chris was like, get him to do all of them. And I'm like, I don't know.
Well, and life happens too. Things happen. And
yeah. Who knows why it took that long. And then, Clover also has a system, right? Like where they kickstart something and then they have a process and you're in line for the publishing portion of it. So it didn't hit comic shops until May 2024. So from it would have been like September, I think, is when the Kickstarter ended. And so that was a few months. We did have some delays because they had some big Marvel art of books that were in line ahead of me.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
So, and they just were starting those books. Their art of books I hadn't even been released at that point. So, yeah.
Wow. So another kind of question about Armored. At its heart, it feels more than just an action story, kind of like you mentioned. Are there some themes or concepts that you think readers should kind of connect and resonate with?
Well, like I mentioned, it is a story of like overcoming loss. Like this boy who's lost his parents has been obsessed with them, like to the point where the police like have cut him off from the investigation or any leads. They refuse to let him contact them because he's done everything he can to intervene in the investigation. And when we meet him and he's being adopted, he's told by kind of like the, I don't know what you call them. I'm lost for words right now. They're basically told, don't let him around computers or cell phones, right? Like he'll jump right back into his old ways. And when he also meets this couple, they're kind of going through the same thing. And at some points, he feels like he's being replaced, like he's a replacement child of their child.
Got it.
So it's this. it's a strange feeling, and I'm sure I'm fortunate I was not adopted at all, but I imagine like being adopted that you feel out of place, and that's what I wanted to take the character and put him into these awkward positions. And there's a big twist in the middle of the series, and it really pushes him to a dark place. Like I wanted to throw the absolute worst thing that could happen to an adopted child, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
And then would you say as you are arcing out the story over the long term, would you say that the character and the tone of the story does get darker over the long term?
Yeah,
Or we're not revealing that.
Oh yeah, it gets dark. It gets really dark. Like it's always going to be a dark series with levity from the antics of the ghost.
Got it.
Fish out of water ghost brings kind of the humor and brings us back to like, okay, we're dealing with some dark themes, but here's some laughs while we're at it.
That's right. And the armor, kind of like you touched on, is symbolic and kind of character-like unto itself. Yeah. How do you approach storytelling with an object or a tool of the character that carries its own mystique in a sense?
Well, once I had that idea, I was like, well, what is the metaphor that the armor has? And it really is like, you nailed it. Like, even if he didn't have that armor, he's had a wall put up all these years, not connecting to any foster home, not wanting to, always believing his parents will come back, to the point that he's put up this wall. And that armor is sort of like when he gets it, it's kind of a metaphor for what he has to shed. And you see, when you read it, he is faced with that, not having that armor, that protective shield anymore. And it is a metaphor for, I think, anybody that's faced with something difficult, like how we deal with other people or things, like the walls we put up. So it definitely was a metaphor I thought about while writing.
Excellent. So it's going to take us to our next section, which is going to focus more kind of on the comics industry and touching on your creative process a little bit more. What have you felt like you've learned about kind of self-publishing or working with publishers that you wish to share with emerging creators out there?
Oh, I have no idea.
And that's okay.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Just venture into the unknown and see what happens.
Yeah, I never know until like I'm faced with like a specific thing. Like I'm always chatting with other indie creators. Like we're always like sharing war stories or just anecdotes. We're all wanting to, I think, get that opportunity to write for Marvel or for DC or hell, get a book with Image. It's not easy. Like some creators make it look so easy, and I think that's why you'll see some indie creators get frustrated and angry and voice their anger on social media, because it ultimately the arts like it's not fair. Being a writer in the film industry, it's not fair. 90% of the time, it's who you know.
Yep.
It's your financial situation. Like Armored wouldn't be where it is if I didn't have, at the time I had like a kick-ass VFX job. I had written an R.L. Stine movie. Like I wouldn't have been able to make the series. And that's the truth. Like it's tough because I think it's very easy to become discouraged and jealous
Absolutely.
of other people in this industry, especially in comics, because they really do. Like, especially you see some Image creators and you'll just see them pumping out book after book after book. And you're like, how the hell can they afford this? Because when you're making an Image book, you're funding it yourself.
Yeah.
So it feels very unfair. And the truth is Image books probably do sell very, very well because they sell in mass quantities compared to other independent.
And they're popular in libraries. Can't confirm.
Exactly. So libraries are like, oh, it's an Image book, let's buy it. Whereas when you're with a small press publisher, or if you're an indie publisher, or if you're just like an independent just trying to get your one book out, you're up against the lot. And on top of that, there's so many people wanting to do this. You're
Absolutely.
competing with so much. And so when you do get your comic out on the shelf, you're competing with Absolute Batman. You're competing with Scott Snyder's independent title. You're not just competing with all those. You're competing with those creators' indies.
Right.
So it's tough. It's try not to get discouraged. Just get it out there. That's the goal. But do know it's expensive. It just is.
Mm-hmm.
It is. And that's why I see a lot of whenever I see it a lot where I'll see like Eric Larson or whoever give advice on like Threads or one of the social media outlets say like start with like a 4-page story and stuff. Start with 10 pages. And I think it's good. I agree, but like there's only so much you can do with 4 pages. Maybe that's good for practice, like so you can get your 10,000 hours. But the truth is you need like I would try to do 10 to 22 page story if possible. Save up, do what you can, find an artist that's willing to work with you. I don't know. It's hard. I'm not gonna make it like this easy thing because people do make it look way too easy and it's not.
Well, and like it's said in a sense too, there's no really one way to do it.
No,
So there's
exactly.
so many pathways to get it out there. Even if you want to go digital only, you can go the Webtoons route, or if you want to have just a digital website where you have weekly episodes released, that you can do so much out there now.
And people have been so successful with those routes, right? Or
yes,
or even Instagram. There was one person just posting a panel on Instagram every day. I forget who it was, and it was like, oh, now they're huge, right? So
yeah. How do you feel that your storytelling has evolved or changed over time?
I don't know. The more you do it, the more you learn.
The more refined it becomes. In a
yeah,
sense.
yeah. It's hard because I came from writing movies, right? And so I've written so many, and I write with a lot of directors, so there's a lot of collaboration there. And even my next book, I co-wrote with my partner. I like that collaborative process, whereas I feel like in comics you don't really get it. Like I know, like I've listened to Scott Snyder, and he hangs out with Nick Dragotta, and they're just like brainstorming, and it's all cool sounding. But
Right.
I don't know if it's actually like that too often. What was your question?
The question was, do you feel like you're writing? How is it? Do you feel like it's gotten better?
Oh,
Or
how it's changed. Yeah. I don't know because I've been doing it for so long. Like I really started writing full time or just part time, whatever, professionally. I started writing professionally probably around 2013 when I was offered 10 episodes of like a kids animated series. They were like 3-minute episodes.
Oh, nice.
So I've been doing it a long time, right? So you kind of just start. I don't know. Hopefully, I continue to grow. You could tell me as my books come out in the future.
That's right.
Am I getting any better, or is it getting worse, or is it the exact same?
Well, then that kind of delves into the next question. On the opposite is, how do you handle setbacks when they happen? Either writer's block, a pitch doesn't go well, an artist falls through, a publisher relation goes bad.
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know how to deal with things. Try not to get angry. Try not to get angry.
Being kind is huge. Just be kind.
It is hard. It's hard in general, like because I can be honest, like we are close to pre-launching, and I have one artist that has not delivered their art, and I paid them in September.
Oh,
so
wow.
that they probably won't see this, but it's like I'm doing everything. It's like, yeah, I don't know, maybe they won't ever give me the art. I might be out like quite a few $100. I don't know. I'm trying not to be angry, and I just got to give them the benefit of the doubt. And I'm gonna, I'll keep telling them we're launching in a few weeks, but luckily that date keeps shifting.
Right.
So buying them more time. So, but when it comes, I'm just gonna have to deal with it, and I don't know. This just be ready for disappointment everywhere, and
right.
Yeah, and just roll with it as best you can and pivot. It's all about pivoting. I work in production management, so it's always pivoting, right? Like things always go wrong when you're managing a project, whether
Yes.
it's visual effects, animation, a comic book. So you just got to pivot and like, okay, well, how can we fix this? Or what can we do to make it better? Or is there something else? It's pivoting.
Right. It's
Yeah.
almost also too like that stoic ideal of not to get too caught up in your emotions. Like their emotions, you're going to feel them, but let them pass.
Exactly. Yeah.
So now we're kind of in the closing section of the interview today, but still a few more minutes. But how do you enjoy engaging with readers, either online or at conventions? And has there been any particular fan or reader feedback that's really been memorable to you?
Oh man, I love talking to people on like Instagram. Like
Oh yeah,
I do a ton of DMs with people who have read Armored and really like it. I even have like some indie artists that have been doing fan art. That's what's
oh
blown me
that's cool.
away. Yeah, and a lot of them I've met at cons. I have to say, like meeting people at conventions who purchase the book and then message me right after they've read it. Like that's the coolest thing. I just
Absolutely.
love that they're reading it. And then some of them will message me and be like, I read it in one sitting. I did not put it down. I couldn't put it down. And oh my God, that makes it all worth it. And I hope I imagine most creators feel that way. That makes you want to keep doing it.
Of course. And kind of speaking of the convention circuit, do you, or at least what you can share, what can you share about your convention appearances this year?
Yeah, I'm gonna be at the Vancouver Fan Expo, February 14th, 13th, or 14, 15, 16th, I believe. And then I'm gonna be at the Toronto Comic Con, which is around March 20th. And then I was just invited to the Calgary Fan Expo as well, which is in
Nice.
April. And then I have signings at bookstores here in Toronto at the Indigos, March 1st.
Are you going to be tabling at the Toronto Comic Arts Festival?
I don't even remember if I applied. I don't know if I'm the right demo for it, in that
Cool.
Armored is not quite indie enough, and it's not
That's
quite.
fair.
It's not that it's. Yeah, and I'm also not an artist, so it's like a weird place. Maybe I'll apply next year. I can't
I
remember.
do say if you can like attend as just like a person walking the floor, because the American Library Association has made like a concentrated effort of like doing things at the Toronto Comic Arts Festival now.
Really?
So there's actually like a library presence there now.
I didn't know that. I was there last year and I spent way too much money. I spent
I'm
hundreds
sure.
of dollars and my backpack was filled. But I'll also be at San Diego Comic Con.
I unfortunately will not.
Oh no, I will be
planning on
at.
it.
Oh, you had to cancel?
Yes, I did, unfortunately.
Well, if things change, you can find me at the Clover Press booth.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And you've touched on it a little bit, but if you can give us a little bit more of a rundown, but what can you share about what's coming out for you for the rest of 26?
So we have Till Death will be coming out. We're hoping to do the next Armored Kickstarter by the end of the year, is what we're looking at. And
I'd love to help you promote both titles if you're okay with coming back on.
I would love to. Yes,
Perfect.
yes. To let you know. And then the movie I was talking about, the horror movie, the producer director has just submitted the film to a bunch of film festivals. So we're hoping that we'll get some festival dates in there. So as soon as I know that, I'm sure I'll be posting that up on my socials where people can check this movie out. It's called Ivan. I won't say any more. I'll just wait till the director has released more information.
All right, well, teaser out there for the viewers.
Yeah, yeah.
What is the best piece of advice you've received in your career so far? It can be funny too.
I don't know. I don't know if I remember advice. I guess don't give up.
That's fair.
You just got to keep going. You got to just make the thing. Yeah, that's the advice. You just have to make it. My wife says this a lot to people. Like, you just have to do it yourself if other people aren't going to help you. It's
Right.
the only way it'll get made. Like just do it, and then prove to people that you can do it.
That's right.
Like Armored's kind of proof of that a bit. Like if I didn't just do it, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now.
Yeah, that's totally
Yeah.
fair. So, where can people find you and Armored online?
They can find me on Instagram at Mike Schwartz Writes, or you can find Armored at cloverpress.us, or you can buy it on Amazon. You can buy it on Barnes and Noble, Indigo. You can also find me on Blue Sky. I think I'm the Mike Schwartz, maybe. I don't know. I'm on all the social medias, but Instagram's the best. That's the way I feel like I communicate the most. Yeah, just check out Armored however you can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then also more titles on the way this year. So our last question to close this out, I like to ask everyone is, what is your favorite snack or meal as a go-to when you need to sit down for a couple hours and power through some stuff?
I eat a lot of cashews.
Nice. You're like the second or third person who said that nuts are like their go-to.
Cashews and Baby Bell.
Ooh,
I
interesting.
got myself a nice Baby Bell.
Love that.
Yeah.
All right, Michael, thank you so much for coming on to Comics for All, our Ink and Insight. It's been a great conversation. And like I said, I'd love to have you on again a couple times this year.
Thanks, man. I love that super guy variant behind you there.
Yeah, Mr. Sean Von Gorman, who was just on the channel a couple of days ago. So,
oh yeah, Sean's great.
His newborn Lucy joined the show. She did great.
I saw images. Sometime I need to hook up with that guy somehow. I need to do something with him, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd be happy to do like a variant cover for you.
Oh my God, he's amazing. Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody out there, thank you so much for joining Comics for All today, where comics, creativity, and community all connect. I think Michael's been a wonderful representation of all three of those things. Again, Michael, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We'll see everybody next time. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.